Hello, beautiful people. Right, bit different today. A little bit different. No intro, no countdown, no music, no hype at the start. Y'all, how's it going? Welcome in VMI, welcome in Level Legend, and Jono is here as well, or at least he was here a little bit earlier. Yeah, so we're doing things a little bit differently today. This is going to be more of a kind of a talk, me and you. Hi, I am Uncle Fidget. Welcome to my TED Talk. You know, we're going to go over a lot today. This is my plan. It's something I've wanted to do for a long while. No hype music? Oh, I'm very sorry, Roxy. I'm very sorry. You got the beautiful sounds of Harris Heller in the background. Get you through it. So yeah, we skip the hype music. We skip the intro. I should be my own hype music. Do it. I wanted to get straight into the talks. I wanted to get straight into going over my setup and what, like, the mistakes I've made along the way, the gear I have, why I have it, what I do with it. I'm disappointed, Fidget. VMI, come on, man. Come on, buddy. It's not play these games. So I'll put together a little summon for you. I'll put together a little summon. I'll put together a little something. All right. So we're gonna go over a whole bunch of things. We're gonna go over. Very briefly, we'll cover the kind of PC and stuff you'll need. We're going to go over audio. Audio is going to be a big part of this. Room treatment, lighting, cameras, and then finally a little bit of bonus gear and stuff that you should probably look at if you're looking at getting into streaming. If you are in chat, or if you are in here and not jumped into chat yet, let me know you're here. We are going to be going backwards and forth. I will answer questions as you have them. That is the point of doing this live, so we can... It's not just a tutorial. It's not just me talking at you. It is an open discussion. I will answer questions. Let's get straight into it. Let's get right on into it. First things first. PCs. Okay? If everybody... I thought I spelt like wrong. No, you're good. You obviously need a PC to stream. I'm not going to go into too much detail about, like, what processors you should buy, what graphics card you should get, how much RAM you need, and what motherboard it should all go in. Because that's, like, a much longer discussion and is very specific to you and what your needs are, what kind of games you're going to be playing, what frame rates you need them at, and all sorts. Super interesting, mate. Welcome in, Jono. Lovely to see it. What I will cover are the very simple basics, okay? Intel versus AMD. These are your two CPU manufacturers, okay? For the longest time, it wasn't even a question, okay? You went Intel. That was it. You went Intel because they were the best for gaming, they were the best for video rendering, they were just the best, okay? Over the last few years, AMD have come back swinging, and they've caught Intel completely off guard. So if you were looking today to go and buy a PC to use for streaming, my first bit of advice, don't. It's a terrible time to buy a PC, which is the main reason why we're not going into too much detail with these right now, because it's an awful time to try and buy PC components. Please don't do it. Please, like, just don't. Just put it off. You really do not need to be paying the prices that people are charging these days, especially even on, like, the secondary market and stuff like that. You just don't need to be doing it. But if you did want to, here's how it goes down. Back in the day, you'd have said Intel, okay? AMD came out with their Ryzen processors, R-Y-Z-E-N, Ryzen, okay? And they started giving people more cores. Now, the way this works, there's two things you need to look at in CPUs. You've got core clocks and core count. Without getting too complicated, the core clock is how fast it goes. The core count is how many different things it can do at the same time. Okay, that's a very vague explanation of it, but it's a rough idea. AMD decided we're going to give people more cores for less. And they tried this with their older stuff, and the core clock just wasn't high enough. So although you could technically do more with it, it did it at such a reduced speed that you weren't benefiting from it. Since Ryzen onwards, it's got so much better. And it's got to the point now where AMD have not only taken over Intel, they're gone. They have run off into the distance. They are the correct answer, all right? So we went from Intel being the answer for everything to AMD being better for production, Intel being better for gaming, and now with the 5th gen Ryzen systems, AMD is the answer. That's your only answer. To a point where people, even Intel's newest 11th gen systems, just don't do it to yourself. I've literally dropped in for a quick hi and got work to do. No worries, Ellie. No worries. So, if you're looking at Intel versus AMD, as long as it's a Ryzen system onwards, preferably Ryzen 2nd gen onwards, that's what you want, okay? I run a Ryzen 3 3900X, so there's a bunch of different tiers when you get into Intel and AMD, and luckily AMD did a great thing where they lined theirs up with Intel. So you've got the i3s, or the Ryzen 3s, the i5s, the Ryzen 5s, the i7s, the Ryzen 7s, and then the i9s and Ryzen 9s. The absolute minimum you want for streaming and gameplay is a 5, okay? Don't look at the 3s. The 3s are for your office work. They're for office employees. They're for people who are buying, like, lots and lots of computers for people to do word processing on, okay? If you want a good system that will play games and will do everything you need it to do, you go for Ryzen 5 or an Intel i5. If you want that little bit more sort of speediness, that little bit more ability to do your video editing and things like that, your 7s are great. If you're a bit over the top like me, you can go for the 9s. You can go for the Ryzen 9s or the i9s. The i9s are like stupidly priced though, or at least they were back in the day when they first came out. I don't even think they do i9s anymore. But the Ryzen 9s, they've just got more cores. They just go, well, no, they got more cores is basically it. So this is a Ryzen 9 3900X. It's got 12 cores, 24 threads. Threads are basically, you get twice as many cores for the number of cores you have. Not really, but kind of. Welcome in, Lee. How's it going? Command Lee in the chat. Eli, how's it going? What do you think the best gaming PC as an affordable cost? I came late, so I don't know if you've answered this already. So we're just going over that now. So, as I say, these days, if you're going to buy a PC, if you're buying one today, don't. Wait till after the pandemic and everything's over because the prices are so heavily inflated. It's ridiculous. AMD is my recommendation from Ryzen 2 onwards. So Ryzen 2nd generation onwards. And then you go for a Ryzen 5 is probably the entry level I would recommend. Okay? There's actually... Here we go. Let's do this. Let's pop over to here. Make sure I do this correctly. Get rid of that one. There we go. So if I open up... what was it? A Ryzen 2600. Was it the XT? Am I remembering that correctly? Ah, the AF. Here you go. So, this is the Ryzen 2600, the Ryzen 5 2600 AF. Okay, very specifically, the AF model. All right, because what the difference is, this is a 2nd generation CPU that's running off 3rd generation hardware, okay? For some reason, at some point, they basically went, we're relaunching the 2600, but instead of it being the 12 nanometers, I might be wrong on this, instead of it being on the 12 nanometers that the 2nd gen was on, it's now on the 10 nanometers. I'm going to double check that. Let's go. Ryzen 2600 AF. You're not gonna give me the answers. You're not gonna give me, but there you go. If you're looking to get a budget CPU, that's the one I'd suggest. That is straight up the one I'd suggest. This is as low as I would go. And this is going to do everything for you. As I say, if you want to go above and beyond, you get a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9. If you have to go Intel, they're not bad CPUs, okay? I'm not saying Intel are bad CPUs by any stretch of the imagination. They've just been kind of left in the dirt by AMD over the last couple of years. All right? So that's CPUs. Graphics cards. I'm not going to go too much into graphics cards because, again, you can't get them at the moment. Like, NVIDIA and Radeon's owned by AMD, by the way. NVIDIA released their 30 series graphics cards, which are RTX, which is, if you don't know what RTX is, it's essentially a way, it's ray tracing. It's a way to get individual pixels and things, individual blocks in games to refract light in realistic ways. It looks gorgeous. You lose a lot of frame rate turning it on. Their 30 series cards are the first ones where the ray tracing actually kind of works without your system suffering way too much. And they released it at a price point that was actually affordable. And then the pandemic hit. And now a card that was supposed to be going for $500 is close to $1,200 on the used market because scalpers scalp. So I'm not going to go into which graphics card you should buy, but there is one thing you need to know when it comes to graphics cards, and it's very important, and it's NVIDIA versus Radeon, okay? Or NVIDIA versus AMD. Macs are very expensive? Right. Okay. I'm not including Macs here because you don't game on Macs. Simple as that. All right? Macs aren't included in the conversation. I don't know too much about computers. I have a 2014 Mac. What makes a PC so much better than a Mac? It's just that you don't game on a Mac. Most Macs aren't really. That's a whole different argument. What makes PCs better than Macs, or what makes Macs better than PCs? If you wanted to build a PC, you'll build it for a lot cheaper than a Mac and get better grade of equipment for what you're paying. PCs are cheaper, but yeah, mostly it's because you don't game on Macs. You can afford a good PC for as low as £600. Once we're out the pandemic, you might be able to, yeah. As for right now, it kind of sucks. So again, don't buy a PC at the moment. NVIDIA versus Radeon. The point of the graphics card, okay? And it all comes down to OBS and slopes. Streamlabs OBS. And the big thing that you're looking for... I'm actually going to open up a new window here. You're going to let me do this while I'm streaming. It should do. This shouldn't cause any issues. Let's go to... Alright, yeah, no, I just want settings, don't I? Alright. So if I close that, right, here you go. So this is slopes. This is OBS. So if you don't know what OBS is, this is how I set up all my streams and stuff like that. This is how I record my screen. This is how I record my gameplay. Now, the reason we want an NVIDIA graphics card over a Radeon one is for this purpose. Where are you? It's for this here, okay? Encoder. And the encoder is NVIDIA NVENC, as opposed to X264. I was told not to get Radeon GPU. They're iffy to stream on. NVIDIA is better. Is this true for new cards or old? So, it's not that... AMD's always had issues with... AMD and Radeon have always had issues with compatibility, and they've been a little bit buggy over the years. NVIDIA is smoother, but that's not the reason not to get one, okay? This is NVENC. Now, what NVENC is, it's a hardware encoder. So when I'm doing my streams, okay, my CPU is running the game and OBS. My graphics card is carrying the gameplay and rendering that all out in its beautiful glory. If I were to switch over to X264, okay, what that would do is it would tell my computer, I want my CPU to be encoding my stream whilst it's doing everything else, okay? And what you end up running into is you end up at a threshold. You're basically, your CPU will start lagging, you will start having dropped frames, everything will start running slower. It's not a guarantee. Obviously, you can run X264. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying if you had the option, you would get an NVIDIA graphics card because you have NVENC. And what NVENC is it's literally a separate section on your graphics card that only handles encoding for streaming. Okay? Newer NVIDIA graphics cards literally have a section built into them that is designed only to encode streaming. Which means you suffer no extra stress on the CPU, you suffer no extra stress on the GPU, and your stream will look better for it. You will get rid of all your dropped frames, you will not run into like stuttering in your games or anything like that. NVENC. I cannot say it enough. If you're gonna get a graphics card, go NVIDIA, because NVIDIA has NVENC. Okay? That is that. Let's bring these back. RAM is the last one we're going to cover with with computers. Welcome in, Frozen Sklar. How you doing? And Caliber Z Storm, lovely to see you too. RAM's a complicated one because again, it depends what you're doing. The sweet spot, okay? The sweet spot for today's day and age is 16 gigs. 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can get away with 8. You will be limited at some points. You can use 32, but you're very rarely going to use all of that unless you're doing some very heavy video editing. I'm gonna get me some juice, be right back. No worries, buddy. Unless you're doing some very heavy video editing or very heavy 3D work in the background, you're not using 32 gigs of RAM, okay? I've got 32 gigs of RAM. And oh, for reference as well, I run a GTX 1070, which is a 2-generation-old NVIDIA card now, and that does me fine. I see no need to upgrade anytime soon. I would love a 30 series, but again, I'm not paying 3 times what they're worth because of scalpers. I run 32 gigs of RAM, and the reason I run 32 gigs of RAM is because I do, well, basically, let's get this straight. A lot of the equipment I own is not for streaming, okay? A lot of the equipment I own is for professional video work, because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do, okay? I wanted to be a professional video editor and a professional video maker. So as we go through this, you'll be like, wow, that's a really expensive camera you've got. Wow, that's a really beefy PC. Do I need that? No. No, you don't, okay? AMD 2600 AF, 16 gigs of RAM, and probably you could probably actually get away with a 1060 or a 1070 or a 1660 Ti, all by NVIDIA graphics cards, and you'll do absolutely fine. They're all fantastic. I'm running a 1080 Ti. I got it in the mail yesterday for $100 from my family friend. I rocked a 1052 gig. Oh boy. Yeah. So like a 1050 is what my editor uses because he's not a gamer. He doesn't need the extra graphics power. Now, obviously the graphics card can be used when you're video editing. It can actually take the strain of a lot of the overlays and stuff that you're putting on there. A lot of the effects and things can be taken over by the graphics card, which is another thing that NVIDIA are very, very good for. If you use Premiere Pro, like I do, NVIDIA have a graphics acceleration program that's, oh, mwah. NVIDIA is the way to go for graphics cards. That's what we're doing. All right, let's move on. Imagine having a GFX card. I know, right? I know. What shambles is this? Welcome in, Baker. How are you doing? How are you doing? Right. Next. And let's make something very, very clear, okay? The most important thing for your stream setup, okay? And I mean more so than your computer. I mean more so than your camera. More so than your lighting. Or the funky lights in the background, okay? It's this thing right here. It's your microphone. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. If you sound like garbage, no one will watch you. Okay? That's not true. Some people will watch you, but you're not gonna grow because you sound like garbage. All right? People will forgive lower quality video quicker than they'll forgive low quality audio. It's drilled into me. So, for reference, for my so you know where I'm coming from on this. I did film TV at uni. This was what I studied to do. And I also sold tech. I was in tech support for a good few years as well. So I like to think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff, right? And what was drilled into us in my film and TV course is that you need to get your audio right. If your audio doesn't sound right, nobody's going to watch your video. It's just not going to happen, guys. So your audio is the single most important thing you can invest in. Still uses GTX 660 Ti, lol, in his media PC. It's not bad. That's the thing. And that's it. If it's a media PC, if it's just for watching films and stuff, it's not an issue. Your graphics card's not pulling a lot. All it's doing is outputting an HD signal. That's absolutely fine. I can actually kind of mimic voices. That's wicked. You learn that the hard way. I use Elgato Wave 3 microphone, had an Astro A4 TR, then SteelSeries, then Fine, hated them, love my Elgato Wave. So we're going to get into this, right? So the Elgato Wave is a fantastic microphone, right? Whether you want the Elgato Wave 1 or the Elgato Wave 3, either one, as USB microphones go, they are the ones I would recommend. And the sole reason I'd recommend them is because you can adjust the settings on them, which, as you'll see when we come into it later, settings are really important. I don't use an Elgato Wave. I use a... Dun, 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 dun. Let's go over here. Let's go over here. I use an Audio-Technica AT2020. All right? That's this bad boy right here. All right? I love this microphone. I absolutely love this microphone. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. But is hella awesome. Looks at Yeti with pride. Mate, Yeti's a great microphone. I'm not here to shame anybody's equipment, by the way. Let's remember, guys. The best stream you can make is the stream you can make right now. Use the equipment you've got. But this is a reference of, like, if you did want to upgrade, if you did want to look into getting better equipment, these are the things you want to think about. XLR mics for the win. There it is, Lee. There it is. So, what is an XLR mic? What does an XLR mic mean apart other than a USB mic? Well, an XLR mic is this cable right here. This is an XLR cable. Okay? It is a cable that has been used in the music industry forever, okay? And it's very, very good at carrying audio. The problem is, if you have a look at the back of your PC right now, you will not find... Do I have a spare XLR cable somewhere? Give me a second. Give me a second. I should have thought about this. I don't have one to hand. And I can't unplug this one because you won't be able to hear me anymore. What an XLR cable is, if I pull up... I've got the internet in front of me and I'm trying to grab real life things. XLR cable. There you go. So this is an XLR cable, right? If you were to look in the back of your PC right now, you would find no port where that plugs in. You just would, okay? You're not going to find it there. The reason we use XLR over a USB is control. Is because it's clearer and you can get more control out of it. You can get more control of the sound, all right? Which is why if you're going to go the USB route, the Elgato Wave is great because it has lots of onboard control and it has software control, which again we'll come into later. But most USB mics are plug and play. which is fantastic, okay? You plug it in, it works, you run with it. But the sound you get is the sound you get. And there's going to be a whole bunch of other interference going on your motherboard. There's going to be a whole lot of other electrical things going on back there. USB is not a bad interface for audio. XLR is better. All right? There is an issue with XLR, though. And that's that, as I say, you can't plug it into the back of your computer. So what you need is an audio interface, right? This is actually the one I use. This thing, this thing is so outdated, you can't even buy it anymore, all right? But it works, so I've still got it. I would love to update this. I would love to buy a new audio interface. But nobody's going to notice the difference, so I haven't seen the justification to invest in it just yet, right? I love this thing. This thing's fantastic, right? And all it does is I get to plug my Xlr cable into the back of it. I get to plug my headphones into it. I get to plug my speakers into it. And then this runs... Actually, this runs off FireWire. So that shows you how old this is. This runs off FireWire. I get to run this to USB into the back of the thing. Into the back of my computer. And all it does is it removes all of the audio rendering. All of the audio input comes out of that PC, out of where all the interference, all the noise, all the electrical interference is, into a separate box that handles it all itself. Okay? Now, if you want to be fancy smanchy and have a real good time, you go for this bad boy right here. Okay? This thing is freaking beautiful. The Go XLR, okay? And again, the biggest reason this is great, and you can even do... That's not the mini. There you go. That's the mini there. So you can get the mini one or you can get the full-size one. The full-size one comes with a whole bunch of other faders and voice changers and stuff like that. But this thing, it's great. And again, what it does is it takes an XLR input and... Oh god, I'm on the wrong screen. I'm trying to look at chat and scroll down. FireWire down. Yeah, exactly. I have a sound card to help get around the motherboard noise. Sound cards are a little bit outdated, and I did tell you that one personally. Why are you in incognito mode? Been looking at something you don't want in a history? No, I just don't want anybody knowing my name or where I live, which would come up if I was on Amazon without being in an incognito mode. So there you go. That's that answer. Also, welcome in, Paul. How you doing? Welcome in, Gamerboy Bathwater. Lovely to see you guys. I will catch up on chat in a minute. This audio interface is actually better than most you'll find. One reason... it's got a swear button. And we all know everybody needs a swear button, okay? The other thing it does is, as you can see, it's got a mic fader, a chat fader, a music fader, and a system fader, which means you can separate your mic audio, your Discord audio, the music or your gameplay audio, and your desktop audio, all within this box. Which is something I've actually had to try and download software for since, and it doesn't work quite as well because the software I tried to use was Voice Meter. It doesn't play well with audio interfaces because it needs your speakers and your headphones and your mics all to be different inputs, and mine aren't because they all go into the same box, so the box is all that gets read. Welcome in, Burno. How you doing, buddy? Okay, I'm sold. Yeah, man. This thing is unbelievable. This thing is life-changing, and from everything I've read about it, the guys who made it actually don't make a whole bunch of money out of it. These faders and everything, they are pro-grade faders. They are pro-grade audio gear in this thing, and they are selling it to you for a bargain. All right? And again, you can't see this. It's temporarily out of stock because everybody knows this is where you go. I don't have one yet, though. I hate Voice Meter. Go XLR is where it's at. Yeah. That's the reason why I got the Wave 3. I've been loving muting people in Discord and music as well. So that's it, right? So we were going to come back to the Wave 3. So let's have a look at the Elgato Wave 3. Because at the moment, I've just said to you, if you want the best sound, you get a XLR microphone which is 74 quid or $100. Okay, this bad boy right here is $100, and it's probably it's a very good bang for the buck mic. I love this thing. I actually cannot sing the praises of the AT2020 enough. I think it's fantastic. But you're talking about a $100 microphone plus 150, what's that? 14, 170, call it $170. $170 Go XLR. So now you're up to $250. Suddenly that's a lot. All right? That's a lot. Plus you need XLR cables, which are sold separately, so you're not going to buy an XLR cable. Or you get the Elgato Wave. Okay? Which is a USB microphone, so you don't have to worry about getting a... The Rode Pod mic is fantastic as well. The Rode Pod mic's a great mic. There's a difference there, which I'll cover in a minute, but yes, very good point. The Elgato Wave is a USB microphone, so you don't need to worry about an audio interface or anything. The thing that makes this special, although other than the capsule being amazing, the actual capsule that captures the audio, mwah, beautiful, beautiful sound that comes out of here. What makes this brilliant is the software it comes with. Okay, so Elgato include a whole bunch of software that does what that Go XLR does, that allows you to mute people, that allows you to separate your chat out, that allows you to do all your fading, do all your EQ and stuff like that, stuff that we'll get onto later. But if you want to go USB, this thing right here, mwah, chef's kiss. I got my whole mic set up for about 70 quid. Nice. What are you running? Just out of interest. Just out of interest. Rode Pod mic. Okay, so the difference between the AT2020 and the Pod mic is one thing. Okay, let's bring it up. Where are you? Are you gonna give it to me? There you go. All right, so let's bring this over here. So Rode microphones, Pod mic, dynamic podcast microphone. Audio-Technica AT2020 cardioid condenser microphone, okay? The big difference there is condenser versus dynamic, which other than being the fact that a condenser microphone you talk into at the side and a dynamic microphone you talk into from the top, usually, the difference is the pickup. Okay, so dynamic microphones do straight line audio. If you can imagine, a dynamic microphone will usually do a beam of audio. Okay? A condenser microphone has what's called a cardioid pickup, which means it picks up a bubble around the front of this microphone, around this side. So I can talk here, 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 and you'll still hear me. However, if this was a dynamic microphone, it needs to be pointed at my mouth pretty much at all times, otherwise you're going to lose the quality of my voice. Which is why you'll see a lot of people, right, who go for the big daddy, the Mac daddy of microphones, the Shure SM7B. Okay? £360 for a microphone. Don't buy this. I mean, you can if you've got the money. If you've got the money, do it. But we'll get into ways that you can make any microphone, any decent microphone sound like a Shure SM7B without spending this kind of money. But that's why you'll see a lot of like big streamers and stuff will have this microphone and it sits here. And it sits here and it covers up half their face. Or it'll sit just out of screen and they have to sit very still because the moment they move this way or the moment they move that way, they've lost it. That this mic will no longer pick them up. You must be chewing on your mic. Yeah, sometimes you have to chew on the mic. But we warn the software needs work for the Wave link with the Wave 3. Every time I open Steam to play game audio, mute sometimes, it still needs work. No, that's very good. Behringer XM8500. So Behringer, yeah, the Euphoria UM2. So the Behringer is the budget option. Now I don't say that to be like offensive to you in any way. I mean, that's as low as I would go. Don't go anything lower than a Behringer. Behringer is the entry-level budget option. Their stuff's great. It's not the best, but it is as low as I would go. I was about to buy the SM7B, but I like my Elgato Wave. Yeah, man, don't. You don't need this. You don't need this, and you don't need to be chewing your mic, okay? I've gotten great sound out of my pod mic without chewing. It's a great mic, but yes, won't pick everything unless you're facing that general direction. Well, Lee, you're into music, so you know a lot about microphones. You know about sort of mic placement and best effects of it. But yeah, you can. The further away a dynamic mic is, the less it will pick up. The more you move around. That's it. I'm quite an animatic person. That's why I use a condenser microphone, okay? Because I like to be able to pick up this whole area. There is a downside, and the downside is that it picks up my controller quite loudly. You know, you get quite loud clicks because it's picking up this whole area. If this was a dynamic mic, it would only pick up my voice. So there are trade-offs. There are trade-offs. And again, I'm not saying any one solution is perfect. I'm trying to explain to you that there are differences and trying to bring you to understand those differences. This is a fantastic dynamic microphone, all right? Don't get this. Get this. If you want a dynamic microphone rather than a condenser, you'd rather have something that points to your mouth and, like, it just picks up your voice. Rode Pod mic, fantastic option. Fantastic option. Right, let's go back to... Okay, so we did the USB versus XLR. We did the interface. Boom arm! A boom arm is this thing. It's not really in shot, but the fact that I can move my mic around is because it's on a boom arm. All right? It's one of these bad boys. This is a super cheap one. This is a super cheap one. And the reason it's super cheap is because I don't need it to be any better. I don't need a better one. I don't need it to be fantastic. I don't need it to be super sturdy. It's not holding anything heavy. So, you know, this mic is really light. So I get a cheap one. It holds itself in place. I tighten up my screws and it stays where I need it to do. The reason we use a boom arm is because it lifts the mic off the table, which means when I shake my desk, which you can see is shaking because you can see the camera shaking, you know, and I can tap on the desk, and although you'll hear that, right, if that mic was on the desk, you would just hear the capsule vibrating and it would sound horrific. Okay, so moving the mic off the desk into a boom arm is going to remove a lot of those shakes, a lot of those like clanging around sounds. I need to stop playing with my hair. The other thing that really helps with this is a shock mount. Now this is the shock mount I use. Again, guys, oh, this is another thing. If you want film gear or audio gear, oh, sorry, I wasn't showing you. This is the really cheap mic. This is a really cheap boom arm I have. Literally, like £9. Awesome. Does the job. Does the job, and that's all you need to do. You can go super expensive. I've seen people spend like $100 odd on a boom arm. Not needed. Not needed. Shock mount is the other thing, and that literally allows me to move my mic around. Okay, and all the shaking, all the well, not all of it. You can't get rid of all of it. But most of the shaking, most of the reverberation that's going through my arm or would be going through the table is being absorbed here. Which means when I knock my mic, which happens way more often than I wish it would, this will absorb a fair amount of that shock and make it sound cleaner. And that's all we're really after. It's clean audio. Because again, we can get it to sound good later. We need it to sound clean initially. So we want to get rid of that horrible hiss that we get on like cheaper microphones and things like that. And we want to get rid of these table noises and the mic and the shaking noises and stuff like that. The other thing you want to get rid of is plosives. Plosives are your P's, your B's, your harsh okay? And what a pop filter does, is it doesn't remove them. It stops them reaching the actual capsule. So a capsule is in a microphone. It's literally a little sliver of metal that bounces backwards and forwards as your voice hits it, as the sound waves hit it, and that records the audio. We want to stop those p and b, those blasts of air that come out of our mouth from hitting the mic capsule. That's what this does. And you may have seen the other ones, the big round ones. If I type in pop filter, that's what'll come up. There you go. You've probably seen these big round ones. They work as well, but the reason I use this over those is because it looks cleaner. It's because it takes up less room in my scene. And again, this is going back to the condenser versus dynamic thing. I've got a tiny box that I live in on streams. I can have my mic off to the side and it'll pick me up great, as opposed to it being here and this is where I live and you cover up half my face, and then if I had a big circle pop filter in the way as well, this suddenly doesn't look great, does it? Suddenly doesn't look great. One thing I wanted to mention. Whoop, whoop. Make sure that's pointing towards me. Make sure it's pointing towards my mouth. If you're going to use a condenser microphone or a dynamic microphone, okay, there's something you need to be aware of, and it's called the proximity filter, okay? Which means if I get up real close to this microphone, what you'll notice is my voice will become so much boomier, so much more resounding. Which you may think is something you're after, okay? And that might be something you're after. But it doesn't sound natural, and it's very hard to work with later when we come into plugins. Imagine being called Baker Bulbasaur and not having a pop shield. Hey. So a lot of the microphones, like the Blue Yeti and stuff like that, come with them built in. A lot of the USB microphones come with them built in. So you may, when you buy a microphone, check if you've got one built in. If not, go grab them one. So much more epic. Yeah, that's right. And you can have that epic sound if you want. But if you want a natural sound, the rule of thumb is that. Okay? That's the distance you should be away from your microphone. Okay? Now again, the benefit I have to having a condenser microphone, or you can do this with a dynamic microphone as well. Having it off to the side, or having it in front of me, should realistically, if I got it at the right distance, should realistically make no difference to the sound. It will sound slightly different for those of you who have decent headphones on. And the reason is because I've got no sound treatment behind me. All of my sound treatment is actually in this corner, because I like having my microphone off to the right of me. And whether you talk past your mic or into your mic really won't make that much of a difference for you. Okay? Little tip there. My voice is naturally epic. You're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. 14 likes on the stream. Thank you very much, guys. Right. One last thing to cover on audio and mics. If I can come back in here, we're going to go over this one. Oh, no, that's... yeah. So we've done dynamic, we've done USB versus XLR, we've done shock mounts, pop filters. All right. Headphones. Headphones. And if you're wondering why I'm not talking about speakers when we're talking about audio, it's because this is a stream setup and you should not be using speakers for streams. Stop it. If you're using speakers for streaming, stop it. Because we can hear everything back and the mic picks you up twice. Stop it. Headphones. There are two things you need to look for when it comes to headphones. One is clarity. Okay, and when I say clarity, I mean... if you were in video editing or music editing, it would mean flat response, which means it's not coloring the audio. So it's not adding too much bass, it's not adding too much in the high. Everything sounds like it should. So you can get that. But when it comes to like stream headphones and gaming headphones, what you're really looking for is being able to pick up individual sounds, okay? If you're playing a shooter game, for instance, you want to be able to know, okay, there's gunfire going off, it sounds like this weapon, and it sounds like it's coming from this direction, all right? Clarity is key. The other one, and it's one that I feel like gets overlooked way too much, is comfort. And for comfort alone is why I use the Beyerdynamic DT770s. Okay? These things, these headphones right here, are... Just as I was talking about, like, not having speakers on, I've had my speakers on this whole time. Hides $4.99 wired headphones. Again, Baker, use what you got, mate. Use what you got. But if you want to invest, this is the recommendations, okay? Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard that back. Usually it doesn't matter too much with desktop audio. These are beautiful, and the reason I love them is because when you buy them, they come with these velour ear cups. They come with velour ear cups. I replaced mine because I'm one of those guys who's a radiator. Okay, I give off heat. I radiate heat horrendously, and in the summer, I sweat. And when I sweat in these, they got all like crispy, and I could feel them against. Anyway, so I swapped mine out for leather. Whether you go leather, whether you go velour, the DT770s are some of the most comfortable headphones I've ever worn. All right, I can wear these things for 18 hours and not have an issue. Honestly, I can wear these for like 18 hours and not have an issue. The other ones, and these are ones like my editors just picked up. The MX50s. Yeah, there you go. There you go. The Audio-Technica M50X. Another great pair of headphones. Absolutely, like, notorious within the video editing community and the audio editing community for being great headphones for the price. But a lot of people will say they get a little bit uncomfortable. So thank God for AC in the US, mate. I can't tell you how much we need AC. Cannot tell you. The Audio-Technica AT M50Xs, great headphones, not as comfortable. One thing I would always say to avoid, okay, and I might get a lot of stick for this, gaming headsets. Please, if you've got a gaming headset, go right ahead and use it. If you want to invest in a set of headphones, please don't buy a gaming headset. Please. Because it's all marketing, and none of them are very good. Just flat out, none of them are as good as you will get if you get something that's not gaming. And they are just, the prices of them are jacked up because they are gaming. Please don't buy a gaming headset for streaming. Again, if you have one, use it. Don't buy one for it. Right, that covers a lot of that. So that covers your mic, your audio interface if you need one, if you're going XLR, covers your boom arm, your shock mount, your pop filter, your headphones. Now, here's the secret sauce. All right? Are you ready for this? Because as great as this mic is, it doesn't sound like this out of the box. And if you're listening, if you're using a microphone straight out of the box, you're doing it wrong. Anybody who's worked in video editing, anybody who's worked in sound production, anybody who's worked in music before, will tell you that the raw recording is not what gets used in the final product. Welcome in, Liquids. Lovely to see you. What usually goes on to a recording is EQ, noise gates, compression, all right? And what these things all do, an EQ will raise the bits of your voice that sound really good and remove the bits of your voice that don't to make it sound all pleasing and stuff like that. A noise gate will ensure that when I go quiet, the mic picks up nothing. All right? We're not picking up room tone. We're not picking up the hum from my PC. If I go quiet, it cuts out. Okay, so that's a noise gate. The other big one is a compressor. So if I get quiet, okay, and I start talking in a quieter tone, it's not going to be that quiet. It's not going to be actually as quiet as I'm being right now. Or if I get super loud, if I get ridiculously loud to a point where my neighbors hate me, it's not going to blow up your speakers. It's not going to make all my headphone users go, oh God, what just happened? Because I've compressed it. So the lower volumes get brought up and the highest volumes get brought down. Now you may be thinking, well, that's fine. I know about like Audacity. I know about audio editing. I can do all that in post, but I can't do it in streaming. Well, you can. You can do it in streaming. Okay? And the way you do it in streaming is you use plugins. Okay? So if I go over to my if I go over to my mic audio and I go into the filters, you'll find a whole bunch of stuff here. Okay? So this here is the... So what this plugin does is this just removes the room noise. This just removes that background noise that is natural in my room, from my lights humming to my PC fans, everything that is naturally here if I'm dead silent. This little red line, that's picked all that up and it's gone. It's just taking it out. It does not play a part in my audio at all. The next one is the gate. So this is my noise gate. So again, this is what I'm saying. Everything when I'm quiet, it brings it up. Everything when I'm loud, it brings it down and makes it all... Wait, no, I've said that wrong. Sorry. I was talking about compressor. This is the noise gate. So it's deciding, okay, he's talking at the moment. Now he's not. Let's fade all the sound out. Let's fade all the sound out. And you can change the attack and the hold and stuff like that. And all that basically means is how quickly you want it to cut to silence and how fast you want it to bring you back in again. This can go a little bit weird if you haven't got background noise and stuff as well, and you have the attack too high. You can just like cut to silence every time you stop talking and it sounds really jarring. But noise gates, super important. This is the compressor. So again, you can see, right, as I talk, it's deciding, okay, he's coming in at -8, -5, -6. We're putting it out at these volumes, but if I talk quieter, okay? Oh, there you go. So that's what it's doing, right? So on the right here, on this one, is my actual volume, and on the left is what it's doing to it, okay? It's complicated, but the idea is that it's making my quiet parts louder and it's making my loud parts quieter. I will show you how to set all this up in a minute, or more importantly, I will direct you to somebody who's going to show you how to set all this up. This is my EQ. So these are my EQ settings. So what I've done is I've taken off the low end, that rumbly end of my voice. And I've taken off the high end, that squeaky part that nobody really likes and is why people hate me in reality, is because I've got a really squeaky high end voice sometimes. Boosted around 4,000 hertz, which I've decided is kind of like, that's a bit of my voice that could really do with raising. And because I've got some bassier tones around 200 hertz and around 700 hertz, I've kind of brought them down a bit. I've decided that doesn't sound too good. Now, a lot of people will kind of go in here and they will actually boost. We all will actually boost their bass. And cool, that works. That makes sense to me. But as you can see, as I talk, there's a lot of bassy end here anyway. There's already a lot of bassy end, and I don't need that any more than it already is. And you can see that what I've done is I've boosted this end up here just to flatten off this high bit. Because this is a section of the kilohertz range, or the hertz range, where my voice just isn't bassed. And I like, although there's a bit of bass, I like this high end to be flat. So that's my settings. All right, so there's a low pass filter on here, there's a high pass filter on here, and then I've adjusted a whole bunch of stuff. By the way, you can't just copy these settings because each one is individual for your voice. Each one needs to be particular to your voice. All right, and the last one is called Loud Max. Now this is a separate plugin, and what this essentially does is it says we don't go any louder than this. So I've got it set to -1 decibels, so my mic will literally not pick up, or anything that it picks up, it will say, no, that will max out at -1, that will be our maximum, and then we'll output it at -3. So, no matter how loud I get, no matter how ridiculously loud I try and shout, nothing will ever come out of my microphone into my stream at higher than -3 decibels. Okay? Now, how do you set all that up? Well, here's the thing. I'm not the guy to ask. I'm not an audio engineer. What I want to do is direct all of you to this video. Okay? Improve your mic quality using VST plugins. And I'm actually going to drop the link into the chat. Right? Oh, I can't do it in that chat. I'll drop the link in the Discord. So if you're not... !Discord. If you're not in my Discord, jump in there, and I'll drop the chat. I'll drop it in there right now. Okay? So this video is what I followed to set all my stuff up. And again, he will go through everything step by step. It's half an hour long. It's so worth watching. It's so worth watching because it really does make a massive difference. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Here you go. So I'm going to turn everything off right now. Okay, so now all of my audio filters are turned off. If I close that, yeah, all of my audio filters are turned off. So now if I... No, are they? No. Oh. No, they don't seem to be turned off. I don't know if I sound any different. I can't hear it back. All right, let's just unhide all those because apparently it didn't do anything. Is it because I got 2 versions of OBS open? That's why. Right, which one am I closing? Hang on. Hang on. I'm messing about here. Yeah, I was trying to close the wrong one. I'm gonna close that. All right, now let's see if I can turn all these things off. Filters, turn off. Okay, hello. Yeah, I don't know if it's making a difference. Well, I might not be able to show you the difference, but trust me, go watch this video. If you want to do streaming, go watch this video. Go sort out your plugins. Do yourself a favor. Please, and thank you. Alright. Let's go to the next one, shall we? And the next one is... Where's that gone? I've completely lost where I am. Room treatment. Okay. So, you got your mic. You got your microphone. You love your microphone. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? Except from... it's picking up your voice that's bouncing off the walls. It's picking up the voice that's bouncing off this wall and that wall. And I've got a big alcove here, so my voice all reverberates around in there and gets picked up by the microphone again. So what you get is room treatment. Okay, and what a room treatment does is it's designed to make, again, we're going for clean audio. It makes your voice sound flat. It removes all that kind of like reverberation, the room tone, all that kind of stuff that makes your audio sound muddy and sound unprofessional. That's what it does. There are a couple of easy ways to do it. Acoustic foam, bass straps, sound blankets, sound panels, and then there's a couple of free options. I'll go over the free options first because it's the easiest one to demonstrate, all right? You ready for the free options? Ready for the free room treatment? It's this thing here. It's this thing. It's these things. It's this. Stuff. Fill your room with stuff. Fill your room with soft stuff, and it will act as room treatment. It sounds stupid, I know, but honestly, soft stuff, sofas, beds, blankets, quilts, pillows, plushies. The reason most streamers have plushies behind them, by the way, it's not just for decoration, it's because it absorbs a lot of audio. Like a giant Pokeball, exactly like a giant Pokeball, mate. Awesome. Big, thick, fluffy stuff. Stuff is your free option for room audio. If you did want to go down the paid route, men can no longer complain about women hoarding cushions. No, it's useful. Honestly, it's super useful. But if you want to go down the paid option, if you want to go down the paid route, all right, Acoustic Foam. This is the Acoustic Foam I have. It's actually priced. You can get cheaper, you can get more expensive. You don't need expensive acoustic foam. Honestly, I know people who have gone out and bought like the proper highest end acoustic foam you can buy. For streaming, you don't need it. Once the audio gets compressed by going online anyway, by streaming it to YouTube, the difference between mid-grade acoustic foam like this and high-end acoustic foam is pretty much nothing. Okay? Thickness is important. I got some from eBay for like 30 bucks. Works totally fine. And that's it, mate. You can get like super cheap acoustic foam. There's two things to look for. Thickness is one. This is 2-inch thick. So what you've got is you've got an inch of foam followed by an inch of like this corrugated stuff, the corrugated foam on top. And this does two things. It'll absorb the actual thickness of it, absorbs sound, okay? And the reason it's like got this corrugated texture is because it changes reflections. So it stops sound bouncing around because it alternates the angle at which the wave is hitting it and bouncing off, and it can get all trapped up in there, and that's how it absorbs sound, okay? They don't really absorb sound, that's the wrong phrasing, but for all intents and purposes, sound absorption, well, no, okay, I'll be correct with you. I'll be correct with you. These remove reflections, okay? These remove reflections. If you want to absorb sound, okay? If I'm going to type sound panels, you're going to give me the wrong stuff, aren't you? All right. This is what absorbs sound. And not these. These are probably not very good. But sound panels. Thick, dense bits of foam. I've seen people use fiberglass. I've seen people use like basically like temper mattresses and stuff. Big thick sheets of foam. Big long things like the size of you on your wall. The most important thing to have in your stream setup is Uncle Fidget. Oh, mate, you're the best. But if you want to absorb sound, you go sound panels. If you want to reflect, or if you want to remove reflections, you get audio. You get acoustic foam. Okay. Now let's answer something here. What you see, and you see this with a lot of streamers, is this kind of setup, right? Every inch of the wall is covered. I think you all remember Markiplier, where he had like the black, red, black, red, black, red all the way across, and it covered every inch of his wall in it. Stop it. You don't need to do that, okay? This is a sound dead room. You don't want a sound dead room. You want your voice to sound good in the room and just remove the reverberations, okay? So if I bring up, I'm gonna bring up the video, okay. So this is my setup. If you notice on the walls, okay, there are a bit of foam and a gap, 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 a bit of foam and a gap. You'll see that? That is just as good, if not in a lot of ways, better than this. For streaming, okay? You do not need to cover your whole wall in acoustic foam. Please don't cover your whole wall in acoustic foam. You need to set it up so that it covers the bits where your voice is hitting. So actually, usually behind your PC, or if you're like me and your mic's pointing off that way, that side of your room as well. Everybody getting down with the thickness. Down with the thickness. Yep, that's the one. Okay, and the other thing you need to pick up on is your reflection points. So if I talk in this direction, okay, Although I've got acoustic foam on this wall, my voice will still bounce. My voice will still reverberate and will still come back this way, okay? It's then going to hit that wall and then bounce back towards the microphone again. So what I've got, and I've actually got a whole box more of acoustic foam over there that I just haven't set up yet. But what you need is some foam behind you, and it would literally be like there, 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 and there. Just kind of behind that lamp. That's all it needs. It's just behind that lamp. Because that's the only bit that is directly being affected by my voice. If I tried to cover my whole door in acoustic foam, well, A, it would be harder to get into my wardrobe, but B, it wouldn't do anything. Okay? Because that's not the reflection point. The reflection point is right behind me. There is also a reflection point on that side of the wall and that side of the wall. And there is something called the mirror trick that you can do, where literally you get somebody to hold a mirror against the wall, and you sit where you're speaking, and you run the mirror along the wall until you can see from where you're sat your mouth, your face in that mirror. That's a reflection point. That's where if you talk, your voice is bouncing off that part of the wall. Okay, and that's where you put acoustic foam. And usually you'd put 3 or 4 panels, and that'd be it. And that's it, guys. Really, acoustic panels, acoustic foam, people overuse it. The other thing that's missing here, okay, is bass traps. So what's going to end up happening in this room is you're going to get a lot of high end. Your voice is going to end up sounding very, very tinny because you've lost all the bass from it. All right. Now, what bass traps are is... These are terrible examples, by the way. Do not buy these. These are ones that I've got. They're awful. Don't buy them. And I'll explain why you don't buy them in a minute. But for example, they are these triangular shapes, okay, that are usually thick. They are like thick. They're dense. And they sit in the corner where a lot of the bass likes to reflect off the walls and bounce around and sit, essentially. And this just like absorbs it all up. Now, the reason these are terrible is because they're like this big. They're like this big, they're like this big. They don't work. They're not bass traps. They're not thick enough. They're not dense enough. Don't buy these. There you go. We got the first bit of my setup. Then I'm like, yeah, just don't do what I did. But bass traps, they go in the corners of your room where all the bass and all the low tones tend to hang out and have a little party over there. Bass traps, and it just stops your audio sounding really tinny and really high end only. Bass traps are beautiful. Just not these ones. Don't buy these ones. What else is on my list? Sound blankets. Right. So if I bring this image back again, I'm going to keep referencing this because it's my setup and it's the best picture of my setup that I have. All right. If I bring this back in again. As you can see, I talk at a window. Okay, that curtain's not there for show. You activated my bass trap card. Please, not the saga of the curtain. No, you're getting the curtain saga, okay? I talk into a window. And a window is a terrible thing to talk into. All right. You were hearing about this for weeks. I'm not gonna lie. This is an interesting story, okay? So, interesting is maybe not the right word for it. Either way, I talk into a window, and the easiest way to, like, remove the reverberations from a window is to put a big, thick curtain in front of it. I couldn't find a big, thick curtain, okay? This is actually a really thin curtain here. So, what I got myself instead, and this is going above and beyond, right? I bought this, which is like a pro-grade noise blanket, a sound blanket for Windows, okay? This thing's like 2 meters long, and it's ridiculous, and it literally hangs behind the curtain of my window, and I can't open my curtains anymore because this thing's there. It's so dumb. It's so dumb that I've got this, right? But I knew This was the only place my desk could realistically set up in my room, and I knew if I was talking into a window, all I would get would be really harsh, really horrible reverberations from that window. All right? Because the last thing you want is big flat surfaces, and windows are some of the worst. So I bought this noise blanket, and this thing, as I say, is like, it's like this thick. It's ridiculous, and it's specifically woven to like dampen sound and all sorts of stuff. This price is misleading as well. This price is massively misleading because the postage and packaging is like another 20 odd quid. I spent nearly £60 on this sound blanket. All right. It's good. It's really good. It's a fantastic bit of kit, and other than the fact that I can't open my curtains anymore and I will never see daylight again in my room, I'm really happy with it. Slight issue I had with the company Vocal Booth to Go, just so you get my real life experience of it. I ordered this bit of kit, and then a month later was like, yo, where's my stuff? I spent nearly 20 quid on postage and packaging, and like, you're supposed to be coming from the UK as well. Where's my stuff? And we went into arguments. It'd been shipped, but it hadn't been shipped. But it was in the warehouse, but it was going tomorrow. But it wasn't going tomorrow, but it was definitely going tomorrow. And then, eventually I ended up getting a refund. Then 3 days later, the sound blanket showed up. So I didn't pay anything for this. Would I recommend it to other people? No. No, it's a bit much. But hey, if you find your stream setup requires you to look directly into a window, maybe it'll be worth it for you. Maybe it'll be worth it for you. But honestly, I'd have been a little bit wound up if it wasn't free. Welcome in, Darcy Bell. How you doing? Welcome in, Deathmon. Lovely to see you all. Right. Next on the list is, so we did sound blankets, we did sound panels, and we did the free options. Fantastic. Now for the bit, no doubt, a lot of you, well, I know at least some of you, have come here for. Oh, no, wait, it's not. I know a lot of you came here for camera. We're not doing cameras yet, because cameras are only as good as your lighting. Okay? Lighting is the single most important thing to getting a good shot, all right? Doesn't matter how good your camera is, doesn't matter how bad your camera is. If you light poorly, you're going to have a bad shot. All right? And we'll talk about this kind of lighting here. But what we're really talking about first and foremost is these things, as I just blind my audience. Actual lights, okay? Now, there's a couple of things you can do here. You can go on the cheap end as well, right? Here's how you do it on the cheap end. I'm gonna type in here. Alright, if I bring this again. Ring lights. Get yourself a ring light. Alright? Get yourself a ring light. Get that really beautiful halo around your pupils. Get a nice full lighting. Put it around your camera, put it behind your screen, whatever. Get yourself a ring light. Cheapest option. Looks fantastic. Looks amazing. Thanks for the epilepsy, Fidget. Really appreciate it. Mate, that's not going to give you an epileptic attack, believe me. Smug? Who's smug? Smug because you've got a ring light. Okay. This is, again, where my setup really, really differs from most other people's and anything I'd ever recommend, okay? These things, the ones that I just showed you, the ones that are in the picture, in the thumbnail, are these, okay? Aperture Amarans. These are actually studio lights. And again, remember, I did not buy these for streaming. I bought these to be a film creator. Do we need ring lights even if we don't use webcam, though? I mean, if you're not using... How do you mean? If you're using a camera or a webcam, you need some kind of lighting. I'm smug because I don't need lights because I don't show my face in my videos. Well, that's it. If you haven't got a webcam, you don't need this. This is what I'm saying. So lights are important to get the best video. All right? If you're not using video, don't worry. Just make sure you've got some lights turned on so you don't hurt your eyes. There you go. If you're not using webcams or you're not using video in your things, just make sure the lights are turned on. These are what I use. They are overkill. Please don't buy these. Please don't buy these for streaming. It was a dumb question. No, you're good. You're good. It's not a dumb question at all. These are what I use. There are some benefits to me using these, okay? One is the control, all right? I can control how bright they are. So I can turn that one down to the dimmest. I can turn that one down to the dimmest. And we can get all real moody in here. We can get all moody in here. It'd be great. The other thing I can control, all right, is what's called the color temperature. I wonder if we're going to get any real examples. So if I turn the color temperature down on here, there you go. See? Do you see how my face just went real orange? Okay? And if I turn it back up, we go back to the skin tone that I've set these to. So this is what's called color temperature, and it changes it from warm light, which is more orangey hue, to cooler light, more bluey, more white, more daylight. All right, so I get to control all of those, and I get readouts on the back of it that shows me like exactly what color temperature I'm at, so I can set my camera settings exactly right. Very useful when you're on film sets. Not so useful when you're doing streaming. Super overkill. Super overkill. If you want to stream, get yourself a ring light, or these are things I want. These are, oh, mate, they're so expensive. It's so expensive, but I really love these, okay? These are essentially the same principles. These are LED lights, all right, that are very soft, and they're really thin. Unlike these big bad boys, which are chunky, okay? So this is a soft box that goes around the light. The light itself is not that thick. The reason I have to have big soft boxes on them is because if I didn't, hang on, I can show you exactly why I didn't, right? The way I've got these set up is that it makes me look pretty good. Welcome in, Slender, right? If I were to, first and foremost, point it actually towards me. This is why I don't point lights towards me. Like, yeah, I can turn it down. I can turn it down. But you see how suddenly you've got this, like, really harsh shadowing? Like, under here, you got really harsh shadowing. All right? So that's why I don't have lights pointing directly towards me. I actually point them at the wall and get the reflected light hit me. But this is what happens if I didn't have it in a softbox as well. I'm actually going to blind myself a little bit doing this. All right? Even harsher light. Even harsher. And suddenly I'm all blown out. And suddenly, like, you can barely see any of the color detail, anything in my light. And all I've done is removed a bit of, like, semi-see-through plastic. That's all I've done. But if I put it back on there, there you go. Do you see how, like, really bright spots, really harsh shadows, suddenly a lot less bright, suddenly a lot less harsh? All right, it's diffusion. That's what we're doing. We are diffusing the light. We are making the light softer. And I have to fiddle around and sort this out now, okay? The other way to do it, you can get, like, cheap, I've seen people use, like, baking paper. I've seen people use, like, see-through colored papers and stuff like that to give it different colors and things. Harsh contrast or non-diffused light does make your hair look good, though. Oh, yeah, well, you can see all the different ringlets and stuff like that. The other thing I do, I face it towards the wall. All right? And that just, again, will diffuse it even further. Turn that back up. There you go. Those two lights are soft because I've got diffusion in front of them, and then I reflect the light off the wall to make it even softer. Obviously, you lose quite how much light you're getting. In an ideal world, I would have these lights facing towards me, but a lot further away. I don't have that option because my room is only so big. which is another reason not to get these, because like they come on these big light stands that take up massive amounts of room in my actual bedroom. It's a pain. These are beautiful. These are beautiful, but these are not what I have. These are what I'd love to get if I had the money. But these are what I have, okay? What I wanted to cover is a really simple thing that like was drilled into me at film school, all right? It's called 3-point lighting. And let's demonstrate 3-point lighting for you, okay? I'm gonna actually turn the lights off. Oh, it's got all dark in here all of a sudden. All right, I actually need to turn the room light off. Oh, my phone's died. I actually need to turn this light off as well. Oh, it's got all moody. Okay, so 3-point lighting. You have your key light, which is your main light. Okay, it's the main light that fills your face. Well, it doesn't. Your key light is the main point, the side that you want to be bright. Okay, now you could go with just this. You could easily go with just this. You'd look like you were in a noir film, but you could go with just this. What I use is a second light as a fill light. And all it literally does is it just fills in the shady part of my face. Okay? Big difference. With a single light, big harsh shadows. Fill light, suddenly those shadows aren't quite as harsh. It's still shadowier over this side. I've still got it set up so this light is dimmer than that light, so that this is the shadowy part of my face. You can still tell there's a difference there, but it's not ridiculously harsh. The third light, okay, is your backlight. And what this is designed to do, okay, you can see I've got it in blue at the moment, right? What it does is it adds just a little bit of rimming, just around your hairline, just along your shoulder. And it just separates you from the background. Now, I could have another one of those big lights, which I have. I've got 3 of them, okay? I could have another one behind me, and I could have it up there, and I'd have pointed down, and it would completely separate me from the background. But I'd lose this real lovely little blue effect I've got going on in the back, okay? I'm sorry, did you just pronounce noir? Noir. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Noir. No, noir. I'm not French! So 3-point lighting. You could, if you wanted to as well, and I've seen this a lot of times, is people removing the fill light to get a moodier effect, to get a more cinematic effect. Okay? If you're going to go for this cinematic style, I very much recommend getting your backlight to be on this back corner so that it like almost acts as like a half fill and covers this side of your head and separates this shadowy part of your head from the background. So you can go 2-point lighting where you want your key light over there and your backlight over there so that they're opposite. Or you get 3-point lighting where you have a key light, a fill light, and a backlight. Okay? Fresh 3-point lighting. Controlling brightness and color temperature. As I said, color temperature, being able to know what my color temperature is more important for me camera settings wise than anything else. Making lights soft, we've covered that. Colored lights. All right. The one that like a lot of streamers care about is these things, okay? This lamp here giving off this red glow, these little fairy lights in the background, and my blue light. My phone is actually dead, which is a shame because these are all controllable from my phone. I can change the color of my lamp, I can change the color of my bulb, so I can change the color of all that and make it all do really stupid settings and stuff like that. I can make this all flash different colors and make it a big party scene in here if I wanted to. Just for reference, your color temperature is hot like you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Just for reference. These are the softboxes I use. You won't use these because you're not buying the same lights as me, so don't worry about it. These are the lights. They're actually super cheap. All right? And there's two ways you can go about this. You can go the more expensive route, okay? And the more expensive route will give you a more vibrant color, maybe. Maybe. Realistically, you're not losing much. These cheap multicolored LED bulbs, they're great. They're fantastic. This one is literally a 2-pack. So I got one in my lamp and I got one in my light above me. And those are the 2 colored lights I use. The light balls behind me are these globe fairy lights. I thought they'd look better on camera than they do. I thought they were going to be bigger, to be honest. But they look fine. They add an accent to over there. Even though that part over there is drooped and dripped down and doesn't look fantastic at the moment. But yeah, if you want to get like these LEDs in the background, get these fancy colors and stuff, go this way. Go this way. It's, as I say, it's all controllable from your phone. You can change the color of them. You can change how bright they are. Super, super easy way to make your stream look like a little bit more gamery and professional. Sorry, I need to go now because I'm gonna have a nap, so I'll see you later. No worries, mate. Look after yourself. Right, next. Right, we have finally arrived, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about lighting. Cameras. The thing I get asked about more than anything else is my camera. What is my camera setup? I'll break it to you right now. My camera setup is worth about $2,000. All right? It's gorgeous. I love it. I am absolutely in love with my camera. It's one of the best investments I ever made. I would never, ever, ever recommend anyone buy this camera for streaming. Okay? What I have is... I have the Panasonic GH5. Okay? It's a 4K mirrorless camera with interchangeable lenses. Beautiful. I didn't buy it for streaming. I bought it to make films with. It's a film quality camera. It's amazing. Then on top of that, I have a Sigma 18-35. Okay? Now this is a much wider lens. I think the other one, well, technically wider. So this one's 12-60. This one's 18-35, but this one comes off wider, and I'll explain why in a minute. More importantly, it's got a much lower f-stop. F-stop in camera lenses is what gives you that blurry background. The separation of me being in focus and that all being super blurry is the f-stop. Okay? And it is literally, it's the focal depth. So I've got mine currently set to an f1.2. And but Fidget, it says it only goes to f1.8. I'll explain in a minute, all right? But f1.2 means that even if I get to here, I'm out of focus. I have to be here to be in focus. If I go back, I'm out of focus. If I come forward, I'm in focus again, all right? There's a really shallow depth of field. There's a really shallow area in which I'm actually in focus. Which is the main reason why I would never, ever recommend this camera to streamers. Because its autofocus is garbage. And that's not me just being mean, that's verifiable fact. The autofocus is garbage. At the moment, I've got everything set on manual. Okay, I've got complete manual focus. So I've set the focal distance from my camera to my face so that if I sit here, I'm in perfect focus. As I say, if I go forward, if I go back, it loses focus. And there's nothing I can do about that. What you want as a streamer, ideally, is something with really good face detection, really good autofocus, so that no matter where you go, the camera's focal depth will follow you. This does not do that. I mean, I could try and set it up on autofocus, but it would constantly do that searching. It would do that whoop, 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 whoop. And even if it doesn't do that, what ends up happening is the background flickers as it tries to keep it in the right, focal depth. It's horrible, and it's something Panasonic really suffers with. I wanted the lowest focal depth I could get. So I bought the Sigma 18-35 f1.8. The problem is, this is not a Panasonic lens. It's a Canon lens. So it doesn't even fit on my camera. So I needed to get a mount. Where's my mount? Have I not got the mount on here? I haven't even got the mount on here. So here's the extra bit I had to pay for, right? There it is. So I had to buy another thing to make this all work. All right, so this is the Viltrox focal reducer, speed booster. It's not a speed booster. There's a company called Metabones that makes a more expensive version of this. That called as a speed booster. What this does is it adapts the lens from a Canon mount to a Panasonic mount or a Micro Four Thirds mount. It also changes the focal range. So this is what I was saying. Although it's a 16mm range, that 16 is then times by 0.71 to come out at, if I just calculate this really quickly, 16 times 0.71 to 11.3. So that's what I'm saying. It's actually a wider lens. So if you don't know anything about camera lenses, this is where we're going off the deep end, and I will bring it back to cameras versus webcams in a minute. The smaller millimeters, so 16 to 60 is how like zoomed in you are. It's the distance between the camera and the actual lens itself. And it depends on how zoomed in it is. The higher the number, the more zoomed in it is. So if I go back to here, all right, this is a zoom lens. So it goes from 12 millimeters to 60 millimeters. So 12 millimeters will be closer to the camera and will give a much wider picture. In fact, I can actually show you, okay? This is going to get all weird now. Welcome in, not Neptune, right? So this is my camera on the widest setting. And that's it on its more zoomed in setting, okay? I would have to change all the focal stuff and things like that to make it look good. But there you go. Usually, when you're shooting for streaming, you want to go wide. I know it's TD. How you doing, mate? Usually you want to go wide. So that changed the 60 millimeters to like less than a 12. The other thing it does is it messes with, gives me a bigger camera sensor technically. All right, camera sensors. Let's not get all too technical. And this is one thing I will say, like, it's why I would avoid, if you're new to streaming, don't jump straight in on, I need a DSLR, I need a mirrorless camera right now. Because understanding all this and getting all your settings right is the most important thing. And this took me years to understand, okay? You can study it, you can look into it, but if you don't get it, maybe a mirrorless camera is not for you, just get a webcam, all right? I run off a Micro Four Thirds sensor, okay? So what all these boxes are, all right? If you imagine, these are the maximum amount of a picture, okay? So full frame is the maximum amount of a picture. And then you got APS-C, which captures about that much. And then APS-C for Canon, and then Foveon, and then Micro Four Thirds. So from that whole picture, my camera sensor only picks up like that much. Okay? So it only picks up that much light, and only picks up that much of the picture. Is actually, if I were to put a full frame camera on here and use the same lens length and all that kind of stuff, you would get a much wider image. Because I've essentially zoomed in on that maximum picture because using a Micro Four Thirds sensor. So these are the trade-offs, all right? What the focal reducer does is it basically makes my Micro Four Thirds lens, or my Micro Four Thirds sensor, look more like an APS-C sensor. But again, this is where we get so far into the deep end of cameras that it's not even funny anymore. So let's go back to the simpler things. Should you get a webcam or should you get a DSLR or mirrorless? Webcams ain't bad, all right? The main reason to get a DSLR or mirrorless is, as I say, that beautiful bokeh in the background, that blurry background, that low f-stop. That's what people want mirrorless cameras for. That's why people go DSLRs. That's why they plug them in. Because the truth is, you can get 1080p output that looks great from a webcam. But it's not going to do that. The other thing is the color depth. Okay? In an actual camera, in an actual DSLR or mirrorless, you're going to get much better color depth and color range than you will out of a webcam. So in a webcam, you see how, like, this part of my head, okay? There's lots and lots of different skin tones here. You've got the brighter spots, you've got these little shadowy bits in the middle, you've got all down here. All these are different colors, and you can pick each one of them out. More than likely, on a webcam, this would all be the same color. This bright spot here would all be the same color. This bright spot that sits here, this little, like, what is essentially like a sweat patch, that would probably be bright white and would just be blown out. Because it literally just doesn't have the color depth for it. That's why people want DSLRs. That's why people want mirrorless cameras. Do you need them? Not really, guys. Not really. They will look better if you know what you're doing. And that's the thing. You can buy the most expensive camera in the world. And believe me, I've known people who have, like, the best cameras you'll ever see. But they've not lit themselves properly. And they've not set their settings up correctly. So it looks like garbage. Unless you're willing, okay? Unless you're willing to dive deep and get into the nitty-gritty and really learn about camera technology and what the settings all do, stick with a webcam. It's just simpler. It's just easier. It plugs in and it plays. All right, here's the other thing as well, right? You get a webcam, you get a USB, it goes into the back of your computer, it loads up, that's fine. This camera does not come with USB, okay? What I'm running is a... Okay, let's go that one. All right, what I'm running is an HDMI cable from the out port of my camera that then runs either into my capture card, okay, which, as you can see, adds a whole bunch of money to it if you want a capture card, or a really cheap, really cheap. That's actually cheaper than when I bought it. A really cheap capture card. Now, this thing's great, okay? Besides the fact that, like, setting up your camera's a pain, these things are fantastic, okay? The alternative is a cam link. I'm all over the place when it came to cameras now. Here you go. If you type in cam link, this is the first thing that comes up. That's fantastic. All right, where are we? Where's the Elgato? There you go. There you go. The Elgato cam link. 120 quid. Versus 15, right? And that's the difference. And all this is literally HDMI to USB conversion. But it keeps the quality. It keeps the signal strength. All right. Why do I use the cheap one instead of the really good Elgato one? Because the Elgato one is really good. Truth is, this thing gets me 90% of the way there. Gets me 90% of the way there. 10% the price. I'm okay with it. What are the drawbacks? Well, although it says full 1080p there, it does do 1080p. It does 1080p 30. And all my streams are at 60 frames per second. Which they don't need to be. I could stream at 30. It'd be fine. Nobody would notice. Nobody would. Most people wouldn't mind. But I stream at 60 because I'm a nerd and I like to. It doesn't do 1080p 60. It does 720 60. But here's the truth of that. Okay? You're watching the stream in 1080p. How much of it is taken up by my face? This much. This much right here. This is all the area. Do you think this is half the screen? It ain't half the screen. Therefore, the video you're getting is less than 720. Therefore, I don't need it to output any more than that. I've just realized I'm not showing you it. This thing. I just realized I'm not showing you it, all right? This thing here, awesome. Well worth it. Well worth the investment. This is an awesome investment. Well worth getting. We're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna shoot through the last couple of steps here. Okay? Don't buy this camera. If you want to buy a camera, I will tell you the camera you should buy. And the camera you should buy is the same camera everybody will tell you to buy. All right? It's the Sony A5100. There you go. If you want to get into the mirrorless, world, that's the one you buy. Oh, that's the A6000. We don't want the 6000. You're not going to show me a 5100, are you? It's not going to show me a 5100 because I don't think you can buy them in new anymore. The point is you go Sony, and the reason you go Sony is because they got amazing autofocus. Which, as I explained earlier, is really what you want. You really want that amazing autofocus. Okay? Autofocus is some of the most important things when it comes to a stream camera. There you go, I've even put it on there. The importance of autofocus. Camera software for PC. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this real quick. I'm gonna close all this down. Close that. Close that. This is what's called Lumix Tether. This is the Panasonic specific camera software for PC, and it means that even though my camera's in front of me and I can't really touch any of it and I can't move it around, I can't see the screen, although the screen flips out and turns, and if you're gonna buy a camera, get a camera that's got a flip out turny screen, because it'll do you a hell of a lot of favors. Because my HDMI cable goes into the side where the camera where the screen flips out, I can't flip it out, so I can't actually see anything and I can't touch any of them. The point is, this gives me all my options, so I can sit here and I can change my ISO. I can make myself look all blown out and ridiculous. Turn it back down again. I can change the f-stop. So, just out of interest, this is what happens. This is how unblurry I can make the background. So if I go up to like an f11, first thing you'll notice is it gets really dark. First thing you'll notice is it gets really dark. But if I... Yeah, it's not a great example. It's not a great example at all. If I change it to f3.2... Bring it to 1250, 1600. Yeah, there you go. You notice suddenly you can see the plushies a lot more clearer. Suddenly they're a lot less fuzzy. And that's literally just changing the f-stop. So I can turn the f-stop all the way back down to 1.2. I'm really blown out because I'm suddenly letting in a lot more light. There you go. I've now got a really fuzzy background. So this allows me to mess around with all my settings. And again, there's the color temperature, like I said earlier. I know the color temperature on my lights is 5500, so I use 5500. Whew. Where are we at? What's going on? Where's the last couple of slides? Hang on. Everything's gone wrong. So your colors look more vibrant on your little cam screen on the stream than it does on the Panasonic software. Yes, it does, Lewis. Yes, it does. And I'm about to explain why. Okay. Required accessories. All right, we'll cover the required accessories real quick, okay? Because as I said, not only do I need that little So not only do I need the mini capture card or the big capture card, I also need this, which is a dummy battery. Because if you've ever tried to run a camera battery for 4, 5, 12 hours, doesn't last. And as somebody who used to like try and do it and used to try and do my recordings off it, the amount of times my camera would die on me halfway through was ridiculous. So I got myself a dummy, what's called a dummy battery. And what this is essentially, it's a battery that runs off mains power. So it tricks my camera into thinking there's a battery in the battery holder and then just runs it off main power. This thing is fantastic. If you're going to buy one, make sure you get one that comes with the plug. That comes with the mains plug, okay? You need it. You need the mains plug included. You don't want to be blowing up your camera, please. All right? The other thing is this little light stand. So I've literally got my camera sat on a little tiny light stand behind my screens. Now, again, you can get specific mounts which like clamp to the desk and things like that, which are better. But these are what I had available to me at the time, so this is what I use. I found if I just screwed this into the bottom of my camera, though, that it would kind of be a little lopsided, a little heavy on one side. So I bought an alternate quick release plate. So what this does is it screws onto the top of the light fittings, and then this plate detaches. You're gonna give me a picture? No. Anyway, this plate here detaches, and then I can just take my camera off and put it on really easily. Well worth buying. But again, it's another £30 that I had to spend to have this set up, okay? So this is what I'm saying. Getting a camera set up is a lot more expensive than just buying the camera. Because you gotta buy the camera, then you gotta buy the lens, and then if you're an idiot like me, you gotta buy a lens converter. Then you gotta buy the stands, and you gotta buy the quick release plates, then you gotta buy the charger, and then you gotta buy the thing that actually plugs it into. Okay? But, as Lewis alluded to, making it actually look good. Alright? Let's go back to OBS Studio. Launch anyway. Because, as you said, buddy, right? If I bring up Lumix Tether again, and I bring it on top, and get rid of that, Alright? I look a lot brighter here than I do over there. Yeah? I get a lot more vibrance, I get a lot more color, there's a lot more dynamicness of it. The reason is because this is set to be flat. This is all set to be a flat color. And the reason it's set to be a flat color is so that I can make what you guys see look a lot better. And the way I do it, okay, is via something called Luts. It's not a dirty word. It stands for lookup table, okay? And if I go into my cam, which you're not going to see because I'm using it over here, but I can open up, once again, the filters, and you can see there, apply LUT, okay? What a LUT does is it changes the colors and it changes the contrast and all that kind of stuff of your image. If I turn it off and close, it's not going to do it, is it? God dang it. Why does that not work at the moment? I don't think any of this is working while I'm streaming. But you can change what kind of color you look at, what kind of mood, how contrasty you are, how vibrant some of the colors are, what kind of tones you've got via these LUTs. All right? And this literally just sits on top of my camera image and changes the color of it. If I close this, am I going to be able to show you guys? Filters. All right, so let's try applying a LUT to myself now. I don't know how well this is gonna work. Downloads. LUTs. All right, so let's try. There you go. Right, so here you go. So I'm going to apply a whole bunch of LUTs to myself now, okay? And you can just see the impact they have. Where are we at? So I can change it to that. I can change it to look like this, which is way blown out. I can turn this up and down. So we can make it way more vibrant, way more saturated. We can go really muted, really sepia toned, and you can go through a whole bunch of these and get a look you're going for. Like this looks kind of funky. My lights fell down in the background. Sick. But LUTs are some of the most important things you can get. So film flat and add LUTs. Okay? Film flat, add LUTs. I'm gonna get rid of that because I've got it already set up the way I like it. So there you go. What you want is this place here. Gaming careers. 33 webcam filters. This guy is amazing. And you can go to this website, which again will be in the Discord. I'm going to upload both these things to the Discord. Fantastic. Go put some LUTs on your camera. Do we have anything else to cover? I think it's just the bonus. All right? I think it's just the bonus bits to go over now. Required accessories, making it actually look good. Yep. Bonus things. Right. These are not necessary, but they will make your life so much easier. Make your life so much easier. First thing. Home plugs. What these are is these are Ethernet cable extensions. They run off your home electrical system. If you cannot run an Ethernet cable to your PC because it's too far away, because it's plugged into the living room or it's plugged into the hallway and you haven't got a long enough Ethernet cable, buy some home plugs. You need to be running off Ethernet. If you're streaming, you need to be running off Ethernet. It's the only way to get stable connection. Stop trying to stream on Wi-Fi. It's a bad idea. Invest in home plugs. Next thing, get a hard drive. You're like, but I'm streaming. I don't need a hard drive. Yes, you do. Because you're going to make some recorded content. Because you're going to record some of your streams. And you're going to do highlight reels and stuff like that. And believe me, video takes up space. Takes up a lot of space. Ask my editor. Get yourself an external hard drive. Do yourself a favor. You will thank me in the future. The last thing. And honestly, it might be the single most important thing for a stream. More so than the camera. More so than the lights. More so than even the mic. It's your chair. Get yourself a good chair, people! You're gonna be sitting in it for hours on end. For weeks at a time. Invest in a good chair. Stop buying racing chairs. Racing chairs are dumb. And they are not designed for you to sit in them. Okay? Don't buy a racing chair. It's a bad idea. Bucket seats bring your shoulders in. They're designed to keep you safe in a car. They're not designed to give you, like, proper posture. Invest in a chair that will promote proper posture. Okay? See, I left this up. I'm going to try and bring it into camera. See that bend in the back? That is correct posture support. Buy a good chair. Please. Protect your back. Sit correctly. Do yourself a favor. Buy a good chair. Take it from the YouTuber with a broken spine. Mate, honestly, I suffer from so much pain I don't need to be adding more from streaming. Buy a good chair. Please. My chair was £5 in the charity shop and it's held together with duct tape and I like it that way. Yeah, that's fine. But I found my old chair in the street. Let me have that link. I need a chair. This is IKEA, mate. This is IKEA. There you go. I'll drop the link into the chat. This is not a cheap chair. I'll warn you right now. It's not the cheapest chair going, but my God, there are two things you should invest in life: a good bed and a good chair, or a good mattress. Good mattress more than anything. A good mattress and a good chair. Please do yourself a favor. Get a good chair. And that's it, guys. That's what I've got. That's my tech talk for the day. Suppose this is the point where I take a sit back in my nice comfy chair that supports me in all the right places, like a good woman or a man, depending on your preference. Whew. What do you guys want to know? If we'll open the floor. We'll open the floor to questions. Baker's chair is going to be invincible. Baker's chair. We all love a bit of Baker's chairs. This stream has made me realize I'm a fake streamer. What do you mean by a fake streamer? Cheaper than the Omega Lab I was considering. Yeah, and that's the thing. And was it a bucket racing chair? Because they're really not good for Right. Here's the thing. Chairs, right? If they have to give you a little, like, head pillow or a pillow that sits behind your back, that's because they've been designed wrong. A pillow is not lumbar support, okay? Putting a nasty little pillow shoved into the small of your back is not lumbar support. If you feel like if you are looking at a chair that's got those silly little pillows, it's not designed properly. Oh, Baker, your stream is fantastic, buddy. And as I said at the beginning, you might have missed this. You don't need any of this. You don't need any of this, okay? But if you are going to look to upgrade, which I know a lot of people do, I wanted you to be able to look in the right places. Know what you're looking for. Know what it is that you need to be looking out for. Know why some things are better than others. I'm waiting for someone to have a massage chair in a gaming setup. I had a massage chair. It wasn't very good. I need it. Invest in stuff that goes between you and the ground. Chairs, shoes, tires, carpets. Yeah! Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, guys, I'm just going to chill for a bit. See if you guys want to talk about anything. But that's it. That's the tech talk. That's, if anybody asks me now what camera I use, I'm going to direct them to this video. If anybody tells me, like, why does your mic sound better than mine? I'm going to direct them to this video. I'm going to drop those links in chat now as well, actually. Let's find where they are. So, the first link here is for the audio plugins. Which, seriously, guys, these audio plugins are life-changing. They are fantastic. Especially if you know a thing or two. Especially if you know a thing or two about audio engineering. These plugins are amazing. What are we doing Monday? We haven't done Smash in a while. So let's do some Smash. The next plugin is for all those Luts. Shout out to Gaming Careers. Amazing guy. Amazing guy with some amazing stuff. Big up Gaming Careers. Best computer. We covered this at the beginning. I personally run an AMD 5900. An AMD 3900X with 32 gigs of RAM and a GTX 1070. The answer I gave basically is AMD is now better than Intel. Nvidia is what you should always choose for a graphics card, and I have at least 16 gigs of RAM. 8 is fine, but aim for 16. I'll try to kidnap my friend's Switch. When's the Pokemon Insurgents hard mode Nuzlocke? Well far away. The next Nuzlocke I'm going to be doing will be a Pokemon Storm Silver run through. I know Drayano is working on a new version of it, and I was going to wait for it, but having read one of his blog posts recently, it seems like we're a lot further off that than we may have initially thought. So I'm going to do something in the meantime, something that's been in the back burner for a long while. And I really owe Moon of Terror this one because it was like one of the first suggestions I ever had. It's one of the most stupid challenge runs for a Pokemon game. We're going to be starting that hopefully in a couple of weeks once we're done with Mario. So there you go. Look forward to those. When's the next installment of Mystery Dungeon? Tomorrow on my channel. Tomorrow on this channel. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon episode 2, I believe. It's a great series. Me and Baker are loving that one a lot. A lot. He's put a lot of work into the editing. It's the one thing I can say, like, Lewis finally hasn't edited a series on my channel. The Baker's editing all of these, and believe me, he's made sure you know it. Smash on Monday. Yeah, man. Smash on Monday sounds like a damn good idea. Having just invested, I got a pair for £7 from ShoeZone. Timestamp it. Wait, what am I timestamping? I'll probably forget. But the video will come up and chat will be on the side of it anyway. Editing right now. There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Behind the scenes with Baker and Fidget. This has been a bit different. I know this isn't what we usually do here, guys. We usually just play games and have fun. But, like, I used to work in tech sales and tech support, and I just kind of miss it. And I feel like a lot of the information that's out there is very biased. It's very, you should buy the SM7B because it's the most expensive and it's amazing. And it's like, nah, don't need it. I don't need it. If someone wants to know your camera, they can go to the exact point. Oh, yeah. No, I get you. Bro, they want a $129 delivery fee for that. Jeez. What is wrong with you, IKEA? Instead of slumming through a 2-hour stream. Hey, I want them to slum. Slum away. Lewis, do your job. You're the tech guy here. No, he's not. Mate, I'm the tech guy of the channel. Lewis is the editor, right? But I'm the one who builds his PC. I'm the one who sorts out what headphones he should buy. So it came to... On a serious note, the other day, right? I got so fed up of... Because what happens is... I'll send Lewis the recordings. He'll do all the editing on his end. And then send me back the project files. So that I'll review them and then export them on my end. Because my computer is better than his. So what takes him like half an hour to export takes me like 7 minutes. So it's easier for me to export on my end. And it also means I get to review it. And I got really wound up with not knowing why some parts of the music or some parts of the vocals were just like coming through really loud or really quiet. And he was like, I can't hear the difference. So I made Lewis go and invest in a pair of headphones. Okay. And he didn't get a choice. Well, he did. I gave him the options and he got to choose from them. Even Lewis knows I'm the one who knows what he's talking about. Wait, doesn't your Hall of Fame members pay for that delivery? Fair. Actually, Fidget is the techie one of the two of us. He is the guy who's making sure I'm getting the right upgrades for editing. Fidget likes to make sure his videos are super quiet. They're not super quiet. I try to make sure they're not super loud. There's a difference. I'm a naturally loud person. All right? And the last thing I want is people to come over to my channel and immediately go, whoa, turn that down. So, there you go. There you go. What do you reckon, guys? Should we go on a bit of a raid? Shall we go on a bit of a raid? It's really quiet, Fidget. You think we're quiet? Wait, on a serious note now, do you think we're really quiet? Because we're set to -3. Like, everything comes through at -3. I have to turn up Uncle Fidget videos to 50 volume when I'm normally on 30. You're talking nonsense. There's absolutely no way. There's no way. I don't believe you. We were too loud. Alright, we were too... Fidget is really loud on my end, and even though my volume is below halfway. There you go. See? See? You're all just talking pure nonsense. Your volume is fine. I'm being silly, but sometimes it is a little quiet. Whatevers. Alright. Let's go on a raid. You're gonna get full cam now. You're gonna get full cam, Fidget, for the last few minutes of this. Yeah, you get full view of my bed. You lucky bunch, you. It's really quiet during the be right back screen. Well, it's supposed to be. I'm not here. There used to be music playing, but what ended up happening was for days like this, where I've got music playing anyway, they would play over each other and it just didn't work. So we got rid of the music that played on the be right back screen. Go back to camp. Let's go on a raid. Let's go find somebody to raid, shall we? Who's streaming right now? Oh. Alright, so I was gonna go raid Cubo Whack, but his title is literally new chairs first stream, and he's literally just bought a bucket racing chair with a pillow in the back. So we're not going that way. God. Don't need you guys being like, Fidget just said your chair sucks. Yeah, handsome boy. I like to think so. God. Lights are just falling down all over the place. Let's go raid the Shiny Shack. Let's go raid the Shiny Shack. So, with the hashtag FidgetFamRaid, go show the Shiny Shack some love. They're great people. going to do it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you gained something out of this. If anything at all, let me know. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you join me again on the next one. And until then, I'll catch you later.